Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining me again. It's indeed always a pleasure for me to share content. This channel is dedicated to sharing information on critical issues and making connections with historical and cultural issues. The content is being developed based on viewership, therefore, you might see me adding additional content in various areas. It's based on the demand of how people are viewing this channel. Nevertheless, I will try to touch on the topics that are relevant and dominant to me and my community. Okay, let's go now and talk about Obeah. Today, I want to make a connection to my Jamaican culture. How many Jamaicans have said in their lifetime, listen, Duppy held me down in a bed or a settee? For many, the only escape for them was to say Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, and they go on and on until they are released. Luckily for many of them, they attended Sunday school or Sabbath day worship and always remember the Lord in the need of crisis. Hence, they were delivered out of that slumber of being held down. According to them, many stated they were held down by duppies. I don't know how true this is. However, one point in my life, I had that experience. For many of us today, we are uncertain why we meet these connections. But let us look in retrospect. Jamaica has a strong connection to the African tradition and spirituality, of course. However, let's not forget that before the Africans came to Jamaica and the Caribbean, they had their religious beliefs and so forth. However, Christianity was forced upon them. Remember, the Africans brought their spirituality to the Caribbean, which was often seen as a powerful resistance against their oppressors. Obeah is an ancient tradition from West Africa that arrived in the Caribbean, of course. The Obeah practitioner has played a vital role in Jamaica's history, from the early days of the colonized period to a present-day system. The practice of Obeah was banned in the 1760s. It was associated with the Taki Rebellion, which began on an estate in St. Mary and spread across estates. According to evidence given at one royal commission, Obeah was a poisoning under the pretense of witchcraft. In one book published in the 1920s, Obeah articles included rusty nails, cat's teeth, bones, pins, sometimes graveyard dirt. The list is too extensive to list. In all cases, the Obeah man would instruct others on what to do and how to administer the materials. The Obeah man believed that he was born with certain gifts and they had to be passed on from generation to generation. And they underwent a certain level of apprenticeship period to ensure that they passed on their skills. Let me also make it categorically clear that they were also Obeah women who knew the trade just as well as the men. According to one book published in the 1820s, it states that the Obeah man is not only a priest, but also a doctor. He must also have knowledge of herbs, otherwise his mission is not of a true Obeah man. His herbs will also be his traded secrets. The Obeah man was said to be versed in tropical herbs that could be used as healing as well as poison. For example, there is a record of one Obeah man called Shelley who confessed in a court in Montego Bay in the 1820s that he injured several people using Obeah. One white historian believes that the Obeah man was called upon to poison white people, masters, mistresses, and overseers, not the black men and women. The white historian goes on to say that only God knows what satanic practice this was. The same historian goes on to suggest primitive races have a curious knock to graft Christianity and their old beliefs. For clarity, this is far from the truth. The Africans arrived in the Caribbean with their religious practices. Christianity was forced upon them, so they had to merge, of course, right? At times, an Obeah man would take on another Obeah man to remove an injury caused by another Obeah man, of course. According to one historian, one man fell off a horse and broke his neck because he had been doing Obeah, of course. They found Obeah in his pocket, and of course, they stated that Obeah had come back on him. If a white person found a rusty nail or something above their head, they would be very scared because it would be ultimate death for them, they would assume. There's also the mystery about Obeah in the sense that in the 1800s, many believed that an Obeah man could transform himself into someone's body. Of course, you know about the duppy bat, right? Back then, the Obeah man and Obeah seemed to have no limits to what they could do. As a matter of fact, they seemed to be the gods of that time. Obeah and Duppy seem to have some connections, as one writer outlines. Duppies cannot harm someone unless an Obeah man starts it off. So therefore, we need protection. So then again, you can protect yourself with a charm from an Obeah man. I've heard some stories about people using guard rings and so forth to help them to evade certain things. While I have focused mainly on Obeah men, let me again state that Obeah women were also as powerful as the men, and today we call them mother woman. Let us now examine our current system in Jamaica. After 400 years, our African tradition continues. We have mother women and we have Obeah men, and of course we have those healers who are all around. They provide various services. Regardless of the social and cultural status, many will seek a read-up or some sort of services from these practitioners. However, these practitioners do not work within the context of law because the laws were inherited based on the racist structure that existed prior to our independence. So Jamaica still operates under the Obeah Act. Prior to the 1950s, Jamaicans were still being arrested for their practices as it relates to Obeah. In 2001, I personally witnessed a situation where I was a victim support officer in Jamaica and I was attending court. And as a matter of fact, one young lady decided that she would not testify based on a situation. When I asked her father, the father said, listen, I'm not going to allow her to go back into that court because she wrote down yesterday because someone had Obeah'd her. Of course, she did not give her testimony and hence the perpetrator got away. So the end result is that belief kills and belief cures. Obeah has played a valuable part in the emancipation of many because guess what? They saw it as a powerful tool for emancipation. So as we go through, do not say, all right, it's the worst or most evil thing, but let us appreciate the construct and where it falls in our culture because it should not be evil, but it should bring up across good because that was the intention. I believe that belief kills and belief cures. So I'm not positioning the practice of Obeah because, of course, I am of a different perspective. So I'm going to stop here, but it's all about learning and critical thoughts. Thanks for sharing and thanks for viewing this channel. And remember to subscribe.